to another live demo. We are just going to give a few seconds, some time, to allow everybody just to log in onto the live video, and then we're going to start. Before I start, and welcome, I'm going to explain to you what we'll be doing today, so that you are well aware of what we're doing while we wait for the others to log in. Kaylee is the video girl for the day. Kaylee, if there are any questions, just let me know so that I can answer. Lee is also assisting with some assistance to answer any questions that you might have, but Kaylee will also notify me so that we answer as we go. Today I'll be showing you how to paint onto metal with Tjhoko paint and how to paint onto tiles. I have loose tiles here and I have a creative inspiration for you to and ideas to share on how to use old ugly tiles. When painting onto tiled surfaces, we do not recommend to paint onto floors, but wall tiles can be painted with great success. We do not recommend to paint inside a shower. Okay, are the people there, Kaylee?
Almost 100,
okay,
76.
So let's start. With Tjhoko paint, the most important tip when starting, before you start painting, is to clean the surfaces well with lacquer thinners. I know we've said it a lot, but that's the first most important step, and I'm showing this every time, but it is important. I only make use of power fixers, lacquer thinners. I've already cleaned it just to make the process quicker. So this is an old metal tin, as you can see. Galvanized buckets also work. So there's a galvanized bucket that you can purchase from most plastic stores, also works well. So first important tip is to clean the metal well with lacquer thinners. After you've done that, you can use a paintbrush. We are going to add this to our online store. It's not there yet, but I like using either fiberglass from Hamilton's. So it's a Hamilton's brush, fiber bristle, or an enzyme brush. Now specifically on something very smooth like glass or metal, even tiles, the enzyme Hamilton's brush works well. It has very soft bristle here, so the application is very even. I'm going to make use, look at this beautiful color, Dory's Dance. It's a very soft, dusty pink color. You don't need to add water to Tjhoko paint. You shake the jar well, dip your paintbrush in the paint. Once you have cleaned with the lacquer thinners, you allow for the thinners to dry at least 20 minutes, and then you start painting onto the metal. So my first coat, I make sure it's done evenly, smooth. Just remove this bristle. And this is my first step. So I paint onto my metal surface. There are no tricks.
Nadine, we have a question.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, will it work with copper?
Copper, yeah, very important with copper. I have a client, she lives in Rantendal, Amanda Groenewald, and she has painted onto her copper surfaces. Also very important, we all love to clean our brass with brass soap. Make sure you use the lacquer thinners, properly remove any greasiness, oiliness on your brass surface, allow for the thinners to dry, and then you can paint it. Oh, my hat, I don't hope my mother-in-law is listening. I can only imagine what she will do if I start painting her brass items. Okay, so this is your first coat. Can you see how nicely, evenly this is done? When this is dry and we have time, I'll show you the application of the second coat. This now needs to rest. There was a question the other day. I'm painting my glass jars, and as I apply my second coat. It's as if the paint gets removed. That happens when you haven't allowed the paint, the first coat, to cure and dry long enough. So it's important that your first coat dries well, and only then start applying your second coat. I'm happy with my first coat and the application. I'm going to let it rest, and once this is dry, I'm going to apply my second coat. I have a bucket that has been prepared in a second coat, and this is what it looks like. So there's the second coat. And then I have also applied already the glaze here. I'm going to show you the application of that. So once your metal has received a second coat, you need to allow it to cure for at least 4 hours before you start the glazing process. Now the glaze makes the surface UV resistant, water resistant, and more stain resistant. As you can see, with a matte finish, you will get dirty fingerprints quickly. And opposed to a glaze surface, you have more of a stain resistant surface. I'm going to show you the application. Also, what the glaze does, it gives it a subtle satin finish. So if you want a higher satin level, sheen level, you just apply another coat of glaze and half an hour later. Also, the reason why I have applied my clear glaze on this side is I want to show you how to apply our water slide transfers. But first, the glazing process. So I'm going to apply my coat of glaze on this side that has not received glaze yet. And this is how we do it. Let's mix our clear glaze together. And this is also when we paint wall tiles, important step. Always make sure you allow for the glaze to dry at least 4 hours before you apply, or for the paint to dry at least 4 hours before you start with the glaze application. We always recommend it kitchens, bathrooms, and outdoors. This makes the surface water and UV resistant, and as I've explained, more stain resistant. When I paint decor items in my house, I do not glaze it. But if you have small children, you want to make sure it's stain resistant, and you'll see how easy it is to apply. Another thing about the glaze, it is a water-based product, eco-friendly, non-toxic. Now to mix the glaze, I take 1 part water and 3 parts glaze.
Nadine, we have another question. Okay. It is in Afrikaans. It asks, ek wil graag my deurkusyne met Tjhoko verf. Moet ek eers skuur daar waar die ou verfplekke gechip het voordat ek verf?
Yeah. It's very important that your base, your foundation that you work on is even and smooth. The paint will just go and lie on all those chip marks, so it will look as if you painted over chip marks. Once you've sanded, the surface is nice, it's even, it's smooth, and then you start painting. And also clean with lacquer thinners before you start your painting process. Definitely sand first. I hope that answers the question well. Okay, so I have mixed 1 part water, 3 parts clear glaze. And now what I do is I use a mutton cloth. Mutton cloth, I had a sticker here. Let's see if I still have it. I'm just going to show it so that you know if you go to your hardware store or order online, you know what to look for. So it is mutton cloth. I take my mutton cloth and I dip it in my glaze mixture. Wear gloves when you work with a glaze. It makes like a latex film on your hands. And the gloves just protect your hands. It's non-toxic, so there are no toxins in it. It just makes the cleaning of your hands afterwards easier. I'm not a glove person. So I make sure my cloth has absorbed the glaze everywhere, and I remove the excess glaze. The reason why I'm adding water to my glaze is the glaze is a concentrated sealant. But we cannot add the water at the factory. Water contaminates your product, especially paint products, over time. So I've mixed only a little bit. If there are any leftovers, and I've used cooled boiling water to mix with my glaze. When I'm done, I'll replace it, I'll put it back in my container, but I'll make sure that I use it within a week or two. So mix as you need. Now with my damp cloth, I'll go to the areas where I have not applied the glaze yet, and I just wipe it on. Work in a well-lit space so that you are sure that you have touched all the areas. If there are areas that you've missed, I will just glaze again afterwards, half an hour later. This section has been glazed already for a reason. I've allowed my glaze there to dry for half an hour. One coat is enough for your kitchen. Sometimes it happens when you glaze a surface that you miss an area, or sometimes the mutton cloth is very rough. So in some instances, if you don't get a very smooth mutton cloth, you will see streaky marks. Do not stress. Just wait half an hour and apply another coat. And as you can see, you use so little and there's still so much product in my cloth. Okay, so that is a tip. Once my glaze has rested for half an hour, I can now apply my water slide transfer. There are different ways. I can't take any credit for my knowledge on water slides. I've learned everything that I know from Lee Webstock. So this is absolutely a contribution to her.
And Nadine, we have another question here.
I'm listening.
Hi, I would like to know if Nadine have tried the water transfer on material yet.
I have. It's actually lying outside. We had a question with a previous online as well. So I've asked Lee, has she done it? She showed on a video how she did it. I tested it today with our glaze. It is on the fabric. I just want to do the final test. I think it will work perfectly on a lampshade, and that's actually something we can do at a later stage. I've done it on, and it's outside. I'm just letting it dry. So I've adhered it to my linen fabric with glaze. It's not on this one, Kaylee. It's outside. We'll get it later. And it's busy drying, and what I still need to do is I need to iron it. I don't think it will be great for surfaces that you need to wash often, but something like a lampshade, something like a scatter that just sits there and just requires a hand wash now and again will work. But let me test, and I'll get back to you with the final steps later during lockdown. So my water slide I've cut close to the edges. There's a beautiful design. And what I'm going to do is this is water called tap water in my container. I'm going to put it in there. There are different ways of doing water slides, and I'll show you both the two ways that I'm familiar with. And you're patient. So you wait for the water slide. So what a water slide is, it has a backing with glue on, and it has the translucent front piece, and the backing needs to come loose from the design at the front. So you are just patient, and we are waiting for the water slide to come loose.
Nadine, while we are waiting, there's another question. Nadine, wanneer maak julle materiaal en plakpapier reeks bekend? Baie nuuskierig om dit te sien.
So we are going to send the video link on Thursday. So Thursday, I'm going to send you a link like I've done this morning on both Facebook pages, Tjhoko Paint and Tjhoko Paint Creations, where I've shared with you our kitchen makeover. If you haven't seen that video yet, please go have a look. It's very inspirational. So Thursday, I'm going to share the video with you with the launch of all our products. The fabric and wallpaper is already on our website, so you can go and have a look. Inquire from your nearest stockist. It's just very uncertain times. Our suppliers are open, but they're only permitted to print essentials at this stage. So they can print fabrics that are used for masks and not the Tjhoko range yet. But they are there, you can go have a look. And Thursday, I'm going to share a very inspirational video with you. Okay, so thank you for that question while we waited, Kaylee. Okay, let's see if it's loose enough. So I'm just holding both ends. Can you see how it's moving in the water? It is loose. I'm just going to move it in the center. It's still a bit stuck. Let's just get it in the water. Yeah. And there you can see I'm just being very gentle. And there it can move completely. Can you see what's happening there? Okay, and now on my glazed section, and the water can run on your glaze. Everything is water-based, so the water won't have an effect on your glaze. I'm just securing it. Make sure it's exactly as I want it. If you feel at any point you want to lift it and move it away again, you can reposition it. And now, oh, it's cute. Let me just make it straight, Kaylee. I'm working at an angle. So I am pressing it down on this side with my finger, and slowly but surely I am removing the backing. And just all the finer detail. I'm just putting it back in position. And I'm pulling, and with my hand, you can also use a cloth. I'm just removing any folds, any air bubbles. Something that Lee has also taught me is if you see an air bubble afterwards, pop it with a needle and just put some glaze with your finger in there. Just get this one out. Back in position. There you go. This one in position. And this one. Neat. Thanks, Kaylee. And now, when I'm happy, all the air bubbles are out. Can you imagine how beautiful this is on a drawer?
Nadine,
yeah, Kaylee, ask a question.
There is another question. There's a lot of questions today.
Ask them.
Kan ek Tjhoko verf red wat in die glasbottel droog geraak het?
Okay, so why did the paint went hard? It's called air contamination. If it's still in a gel form, you can mix a little bit. We don't recommend it, but sometimes you just want to finish that last thing and you need that last drop of paint. Mix in some cool down boiling water and then you paint again. If it's really hard, there's nothing you can do about it to prevent it in future. Make sure you put your glad wrap or your wax paper over, seal the lid tightly so that air don't move in there. What you can also do, instead of keeping your bottles open like this, something I do all the time, and pour some out, especially humid, warm areas, Namibia, places where it's really very hot. Pour some paint out, use it as you need, refill your container and close the jars immediately. So just to prevent in future the paint at expos, we leave the jars open really long periods of time. So it's really air contamination over a period, but to prevent it, do the steps as I've mentioned. Yes, Kaylee, another question.
No, there's not any questions. Lee has answered everything.
All right. So there is my water slide is on my surface. Just see how stunning that is. The color that I used on this bucket is called Lorraine's Cream. Important to remember when working with water slides is to use pastel colors so that you can see the print and the detail on the water slides. Once this is completely dry, and I'm going to show you how, we are going to apply another coat of our glaze on top to secure the water slide and to protect it. So here's a bucket that I have already done with the water slides, and now I'm going to just add another coat of my clear glaze.
Nadine, there is another question, but I can't see the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you what I can see.
Okay.
So it says, hi, I'm a new Tjhoko fan. Which applicator should I use? Roller or paintbrush? I want to paint a small cabinet.
Okay, so it depends mostly on your preference. For a cabinet, a foam roller is something that I will use because it has small areas. A foam roller gives a very even application. There are people, however, that prefer working with paintbrushes. I will use a foam roller. Things to remember with a foam roller, and we are going to work with one now, so you will see the application. When working with a foam roller, your foam roller gives a very even, thin application of your paint. So more coats of paint might be necessary than when working with a paintbrush. But the application is nice and thin and even. Kaylee, does that answer the question?
Yes.
So with my same glaze mixture, I'm just now wiping over my water slides to secure them. Something that you could have done on the buckets, and I'll do it, maybe show you on that one, is to just add some antique glaze. Let's do it here at the back, and you can see how vintage. Does this process make sense, everybody? Even application of the glaze. Once again, make sure you work in a wallet space, that you wipe it everywhere, and then it's done. You can, if you want to, you can slightly wash on your surface, wash techniques that we have done. I quickly want to show you on this one, and I just want to make it neat. If I would apply some antique brown glaze in these grooves to create an antique finish. Remember the antique glaze? We recommend crevices, detail. Let's do it and let's create something amazing. So I'm just going to my antique glaze mix. I'm quickly going to repeat it. It's antique brown glaze. I don't have the container here. It looks like this. Instead of glaze, it says antique brown glaze, and I've mixed it with 1 part water, 3 parts antique glaze, and 1 part sheriff stone or matte black paint. And what I always have available when working with antique glaze is a damp cloth. So with paint techniques, a damp cloth is your greatest friend. I'm going to finish these buckets, but at least you will know how I reached the outcome. Let me just remove the water.
Nadine, this is not really a question. It's kind of a tip that somebody gave you.
Yeah.
So they said, I've tried wetting the surface a tiny bit,
Yeah.
then applying the water slide. It prevents air bubbles and then slides on easier.
Thank you so much. I'll definitely try that next time. So you apply your glaze, allow for your glaze to dry, then wet it again with water because you can. The glaze makes it water resistant, and then the water slide. I'm definitely going to try that.
Okay, here's a lot of questions again.
Okay, ask them.
Hi. Die glaze wat reeds gemeng is, wat oorbly, bære jy dit of gooi jy dit weg?
Nee, jy gooi niks weg nie. Bære jou glaze. Meng soos wat jy nodig het. Ek sal nooit iets weggooi nie. As jy te lank gewag het en dit is vrot, dan is dit nou regtig dis nou maar iets wat gebeur het. Maar ek meng soos wat ek nodig het. Mix as you need, don't throw anything away. So this I'll put back in my container. I'll make sure it's cool boiled water, that the properties in the water are more pure, and I'll keep it.
Nadine, I'm going to ask you one more question before you start.
Okay, ask it, Kylie.
Okay, as 'n mens glaze opgesit het, kan 'n mens net weer verf of moet 'n mens eers weer met lacquer finish skoonmaak?
Okay, that is a very good question. All Tjhoko's products are water-based. So even if there's glaze on this surface, I can now, for instance, say, oh, I still want to dry brush and now I've already glazed, what now? You just paint. Seeing that all the products are water-based, you have the freedom to say, okay, now I'm just going to apply, although there is glaze already on that surface, I'm going to either coat it in a full coat of paint, or I'm going to dry brush or change a technique or wash on the surface. So never at a point are you stuck. You can change all the time. Is there another question, Katie?
Yes, it asks, hi, what is the color used on the green bucket? Thanks.
Very good question. It's fine lining. Fine lining was used on there. So I'm just going to make this pink more subtle, wipe with a damp cloth, so that I can get my antique finish, and that actually is beautiful. Sometimes when you do something unplanned, it actually turns out to be the most beautiful thing. I'm going to now, with my antique glaze mixture, paint only in the grooves. I have a damp cloth, and I'm only going to show a section so that you know how I've reached it. I have a damp cloth, and I start wiping away. So I just want to create an antique finish in the grooves of my galvanized metal bucket. And look how stunning that is. And if you want to change on something on this surface, so with my dirty cloth, I'm just wiping everywhere. You can still go and change. If you feel you want to wash a certain section, you can go do it. So does this make sense? Questions, Kaylee?
No, we're fine for now.
Look how stunning this looks for a more vintage, old feel to a normal stainless steel bucket or galvanized buckets. Okay, and I'll continue. I'll finish this, but you will know how I've reached the outcome. This is going to look stunning. Can you see? Next. We get many questions of people asking, can I paint floors? No, I won't recommend to paint a floor. Floor is like a table counter. It's a high traffic surface like a kitchen counter. Tabletops you can, but a kitchen counter is where you cut, where you chop. That's not a surface I would recommend to paint. The same with floors. But wall tiles, if you quickly want to change with little money, make a huge difference on wall tiles, you can, with great success, paint with Tjhoko on wall tiles, not in showers. How do you prepare the surface? Let's go through all the steps together. Look at my tile, and I have plenty of these tiles in my garage. I don't know where they come from. And I'm going to reuse them, repurpose them as placemats for a table setting theme. And I'm going to show you some creative ideas. But let's pretend this was a wall. Yes, you can paint with Tjhoko on wall tiles, and can you see how shiny they are? Most important step is to clean the tiles and in between the grout with lacquer thinners. You will see on that video that I posted with the announcement of today's live session, we revamped a kitchen for a Facebook winner that entered one of our competitions. And you should also, there are room makeover competitions on our page. So important, and her tiles we've painted as well behind her stove. You will see it, her oven. Clean well with lacquer thinners. Power fixes lacquer thinners and allow for the paint to dry. I even paint the grout and it looks beautiful. It gives a fresh new feel to a space. And then the one that asked about, I just closed everything that the air can't dry the paint out, and I repurpose this glad wrap for everything. Okay, so I'm going to use matte black. My towel has been cleaned with lacquer thinners. I have waited 20 to 40 minutes. Coastal areas, everything takes longer in coastal areas, so there you allow 40 minutes drying time. You even sometimes need to wait longer for paint to dry. And on my towel, I'm rolling with my matte black. Now paint is a chemical product, and there are many components in paint. It's like baking a cake. Many components, and all the components need to be the right ratios for the paint to do what it's supposed to do. Sometimes we see with lighter colors, Kaylee explained it when she painted a door. When you paint with lighter colors, and in some instances even reds, yellows and very bright colors, more paint coats might be required, and it's due to the pigments of the colorants that are inside the paint.
Nadine,
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you 2 questions.
you can ask.
So, haai julle, ek het nou gemis, kan 'n mens badkamerteëls ook verf?
Muurteëls, ja. Muurteëls kan geverf word, nie vloerteëls nie en nie binne in 'n stort nie. Volgende vraagie.
Okay, kan ek 'n tafel buite nadat dit geglaze is, net so in die reën los of moet ek 'n plastiek cover oorgooi?
Okay. So, if it was me, I would still cover it with something. Because rain and sun is harsh, but the glaze is formalized to give UV protection, water protection. Something that you need to keep in mind with wood. Wood expands and shrinks depending on climate, water. Even though it has paint on, there's still movement in wood, and wood needs maintenance. You will note if you have wooden frames. If you have a wooden pergola, you still need to varnish and maintain it often. So something that is exposed to sun and water and have been painted still needs maintenance. It's not going to last a lifetime, but the glaze does give a very good protection. I would apply, if I didn't have an option, I would apply 3 coats of glaze and just see if the wood starts cracking. It's a natural process. It's not the paint's fault. It's nature. Just sand and maintain as time goes. Okay, so 3 coats of glaze mixed with your 30% water and apply the glaze half an hour apart. My first coat is on. I will allow for my first coat to dry, and if that bucket's first coat is dry later, we'll do that. And oh, I didn't show you the other way of doing the transfer. Okay, this paint is going to dry. Let's quickly recap the transfers and just do another way of applying the transfers.
Nadine, one more question, another tip. Looks like everybody wants to give tips out today.
Yeah, I like it. I learn every time.
So, do you not need to roughen up the tile by sanding it before painting?
No, you don't. You need to clean it well with lacquer thinners. That's the greatest tip. Clean it well, make sure there's ventilation in your space, use gloves, put on a mask and clean it well. What the thinners does, it etches the surface so that the paint can do the grip work. And it needs to be lacquer thinners, not turpentine, benzene or sugar soap. Very important. Something that I have done for the first time today is to apply a water slide upside down. Okay, so I'm going to show you how it's done.
Nadine, just moving back to you closing the paint pan with Glad Wrap. They say that it's easier to cover your paint pan with foil. It is much easier to clean, just remove the foil.
I like it. Okay, I'll use it next time. I love it. I mentioned with previous videos that we have had so many workshops, and there wasn't one workshop where I walked out and didn't learn something. I'll definitely do it, and it's more, I suppose, eco-friendly as well, although I don't try to throw away any plastic. We recycle where possible. Okay, so I'm going to paint some glaze on my surface. And you can also wipe it with a cloth. And this is now, especially if you have, let's just make it neat. You need a glaze coating on your surface that's wet. And I'm going to put my transfer upside down on my surface. Now bear in mind, I tried it today for the first time, ladies. So let's see how it goes. And it worked. That's how I've done these 2. Okay, so I'm going to share that with you. If you are scared of moving your transfer, and then you take a kitchen sponge and some water. And you wipe it. And just make sure my glaze is nicely evenly spread.
Another question, Nadine.
Yes, Scott.
What type of foam roller do you use? I battle with the one I have.
Hamilton's foam rollers are good quality. So if you struggle, just get your Hamiltons. Use Hamiltons. There are also tips with foam rollers. So don't think you need to. I'll continue to the foam rolling part when we are done with this. Don't roll with a too dry foam roller. What happens then? You see marks. If you try to pop all the air bubbles, a rough surface appears. So when working with a foam roller, you generously cover it in the paint and you spread it onto your surface. We'll do another tile after this and I'll explain the process. So don't work with a too dry foam roller and don't try to get rid of all the air bubbles. Air bubbles is something that naturally pops and work in a space where there's no breeze. So I cover it with some water and then you just need to, I don't have fingernails left because we've been washing dishes, cleaning the house. You actually just want the blade to move in between the see-through section. Sorry ladies, I really don't have nails left. There it is. So the blade moves in between the see-through part and your backing. That's the word I'm looking for. And you remove it. And press out all the air. Make it even. So if this way is easier and you have nails or a blade, this can also be a way of applying a water slide. Then the same rules will apply. Wait for the water slide to dry and cover it again with a coat of glaze.
Nadine, before you carry on, there's really a lot of questions today.
We'll answer them.
Yes. Nadine, kan ek my verf uitgooi in 'n Tupperware bak en dan uit verf en so seël?
What I would rather do is pour out as you need. Okay, Tupperware also keeps air out, if I'm right. The best way is pour out as you need, paint from there. If there's left, put back in your Tjhoko container and seal the preserved jar. Tjhoko is packaged in preserved jars and the preserved jars preserve the paint if you don't allow any air to get inside. So if the lid is sealed well, your, what do you call it, Kaylee? Your
wax paper?
Wax paper or your
Glad wrap.
Glad wrap is on, no air comes in, you are 100% safe. So rather pour out as need and put it back in the container. 3 things that contaminate paint is water, air and dirty surfaces or a dirty brush or a dirty container you've put it in. So just make sure your brushes, everything is clean. Sometimes it happens, like for instance with me, painting on walls outside, and then you put that brush back in your paint. So over time, if there was mold on that wall, the mold will start growing in my paint. So the best is to pour out as you need. That's the best step of advice I can give. Another question, Kaylee?
Not yet.
So let's continue with the foam rolling. Now this is a dirty towel. I'm not going to clean it now with thinners, else it will just take time to dry. I'm going to wipe it clean and just explain the foam rolling process again, that it's clear. Now working with a foam roller is a breeze if you know how to. Let me share everything I know with you.
And it's 110 millimeter.
Yeah, that is a 110 millimeter. So the size of your foam roller will depend on the size of the surface you're working on. If you're painting something very small, you can use a smaller foam roller. If you're painting something this size, 110 is good. This is 160 millimeters, so it's a bit bigger than this one. And this is nice for larger surfaces. I prefer 110 because it feels as if I have more control over what I'm doing. So, let me just put this aside. So this is my paint tray. What I do is I roll my roller in my paint. And there's quite a lot of paint on here. If you're working with a too dry roller, you get streaks and lines and a very uneven application. And what I do is I roll. There's a generous amount of paint on my roller. Can you see the air bubbles that appears? That's natural. Don't try to get rid of that. the moment the paint dries, the air bubbles will disappear. So I'm just making sure it's even. The nice thing about a foam roller, you can change direction. So if you feel I need to cover this area better, you go there.
Oh, Nadine, there's a correction with the foil.
Ja.
Skus, ek bedoel trek jou pan oor met folie en gooi dan die verf in die pan sodat jy nie jou pan elke keer hoef te was nie.
Oh, that's a clever idea. It's like my mom does with her oven. Your oven always stays clean. I like that idea. Thank you for the correction. I'll definitely do it next time. Okay, can you see I'm working gently. Now my very last step is to with a very gentle pressure, roll on my surface. That all the lines, anything that might be there that's uneven, disappears. So don't try to roll with a dry roller. It's going to give you headaches. If the roller is a problem, just move to Hamilton's. The paint accessories are really good quality. And there's my application. It's done evenly. There's unevenness, but it wasn't me. It's the tile that is in bad condition. Okay. Now, here's the one that I've done earlier. It's still drying in certain places. You can now continue with your second coat. I'm not even going to do that now, but I do recommend it. And look at our beautiful stencils, ladies. Okay, thank you for all the online orders that we received, and thank you for everybody that supports our stockists. Also, thank you to our stockists, and good luck for those that could open yesterday. I wish you great success. We are doing our best, our very best, to get all orders out as soon as possible. It's craziness at the factory. I just said, bye, I have an online. It's such hard work, guys. I need to go now, but in my heart I was smiling. Okay, so I have a stencil design here, and I have used different ones. Look at this one, for instance. Where is it? This is one of our A4 stencils that I've actually just used a section of the stencil for an underplate, and I'll share the ideas I have with everything I have in my head in a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to scoop some of our stencil of Paris paste on my paint scraper. Ladies, your husband's credit card works just as good as a paint scraper. And then, if you feel very depressed that you haven't used your gym card in a while, use your gym card. Then at least you've got purpose for it.
Nadine, another question. Kan jy asseblief vir ons wys hoe om ook met 'n verfkwas te verf?
Ja, ons gaan op die emmer, het ons nou met 'n kwas geverf. Ek gaan nou sy tweede laagie vir julle opsit.
En kan ek koperbakke ook verf?
Ja. Koperbakke kan jy verf. Jy moet baie goed clean your brass copper well with lacquer thinners to make sure any greasiness, any previous brasser has been removed, and then you can paint on it. Okay, so I apply my stencil of Paris evenly. You can secure your stencil with some masking tape. I haven't done it, but it's a good tip to secure your stencil that it doesn't move. And now, Kaylee, for the reveal. Look how stunning this looks. How beautiful will this be for an underplate? Now, what you can do afterwards, when this is dry, just seal it with our clear glaze, as I've shown earlier. The damp cloth diluted with 30% water, and you wipe over it. I'll do it on the one that's done. But an idea I want to share with you, there's been questions, oh, that lady with all those empty Tjhoko jars. I'm envious of you. There was a question, how could you repurpose them? How can you make them pretty? I paint all my empty jars. Mine, some of them are hanging outside with creepers in them. Our batteries that we need to recycle are stored in them. My chalk, there's stencil of Paris on one empty jar with all our chalk in. So paint on your glass jars. You can put, I've shown in previous videos, a doorknob on the lid, And then you can use it. Cookie jar, gifts for teachers, Christmas gifts, Mother's Day gifts. It will just be a Mother's Day gift. That's
Nadine, before you carry on, there is a lot of questions.
I ask them, it's good.
Does the glaze come in a larger 1 liter bottle, as I can only find the smaller bottles?
Not yet. We need to pull Jaco's ears and ask him to do it for us in larger containers. I can remember a while back there was a reason why they didn't want to do it. I can't now think straight what that reason was, but at the moment it's just the 250 ml. But with the water mix, you really cover a large surface. But I'll let Jaco know that there's a request. Okay, Kaylee Moore?
Yeah, they're streaming in, okay. Can you paint on iron gates that are rusted?
Oh, that's such a good question. When there's rust on a surface, you first need to treat the rust with a rust converter. It is available at all hardware stores, and follow the instructions on the product. Each product has its own instructions. Make sure you follow those instructions. First treat the rust and then paint with Tjhoko, else the rust will just continue to grow. Sometimes in a very short while will reappear on your painted surface.
Hoekom het my stencil of Paris gekraak?
Heat. So it needs to dry at room temperature. When it's very hot, the stencil of Paris, it's like polyfiller or even cement that dries too fast, it will crack. So just make sure you choose a cooler morning if you don't want any cracks to appear. Sometimes warmer conditions, a quicker, faster setting time, let hairline cracks appear.
Okay, kan jy die blom op die teel verf as die stencil of Paris droog is?
Oh, absolutely. What you can also do is you can mix, let me do it. You can mix some of your Tjhoko paint. I have black, but it's going to be black on a black surface. Let me mix some of this pink in my stencil of Paris base. So if you want, you can paint on top. So what I would do if I just wanted to paint this section, I'll wait for this to dry, reapply my stencil, just make sure it's clean, and then paint only the stencil pattern. Okay. Else, what you can do if you don't want a white flower and you maybe want different colors, you can mix different color tones of stencil of Paris. I'm going to show you how. Let's just get a small space here.
Nadine, just talking about stencils, how do you clean your stencils after you did the plaster?
Immediately in some water. So I'll wash it in water immediately and just dry it with a hand towel. So you just clean immediately. So I'm going to mix some color in my paste if I want a different color. So do not mix too much paint in your paste. Else the paste will be too runny and it will run underneath your stencil. So I'm using just 1 centimeter of my paint scraper being dipped in my pink and I'm removing excess. I can rather add more paint if I feel the color is too light. But you will see the stencil of Paris absorbs the paint so well that it discolors almost immediately. So there is my pink mix of stencil of Paris paste. Before I apply or put my stencil down on the other section, or let's do a half pink there, I clean the back to make sure it's nice and clean. Okay, masking tape. If this is something that you don't do that often, secure your stencil with some masking tape. I'm just going to hold it here so that you can see what I'm doing. And now I'm spreading some pink. And if you have different colors, with a smaller palette knife, you can add different colors on your stencil work and still have a raised effect. Yes, Gabe?
Nadine, kan jy stencil of Paris direk op melamine sit voor jy die baselaag opsit of verf?
Absoluut. Kan jy stencil of Paris direk. Oh, kom kyk net eers hoe mooi is dit. Gaan ek hom antwoord. There's your pink flower. And you will see it dries 2 tones darker. To come back to the melamine question, absolutely. Last week, I painted my bed pedestal. So directly onto the wood, the varnished wood, I cleaned it well with lacquer thinners, important, even your melamine. Clean with lacquer thinners, allow your drying time for the thinners. Then do your stencil and go look at the previous videos where I've shown how I've washed on the stencil, painted on it, and my bed pedestal videos as well. Okay, so definitely it can be done. It adheres even to glass. Look, there's stencil of Paris on my glass empty console jar. Okay, and then you can personalize your table setting. So you can write with chalk on Tjhoko. Something that I would have done is I would first seal it with glaze, so it's more stain resistant, especially for that reason. And even if you have sealed it with a glaze, you can still use it as a chalkboard surface. So I would say enjoy. Oh, that is still wet. Let me just take one that has dried. So we've just painted that one. Let me take this one. Okay. There's some watermarks. Let's just remove that, make it nice and...
Nadine, before you start doing this,
Ja.
is die stencil 'n spesiale stencil of kan ek enige stencil gebruik en is dit gewone gips?
Dis nie gips nie. Dis die eerste regte antwoord. Dis nie gips nie, dis 'n produk wat ons self vervaardig. So hy word kliphard. In die fabriek doen ons dit selfs op ons sementvloere. So in the factory, even on our cement floors, we have stencil designs on our floors. It's a factory. The stencils don't walk off. We walk them. If you ever in Potch, we have a beautiful Potch store. 61 for use. Then you just walk in and you go look at that floor. There are people walking in there every day. It adheres to cement floor surfaces as well. Okay, but then I would seal it with a glaze just to make it more stain resistant and easier to clean. What I also like to do is when I apply it onto cement floors is to mix some paint in it, because the paint fills the stencil of Paris that is not as porous and doesn't get dirty so quickly. Okay, so if you want to personalize, this one now has been painted earlier today, I would say enjoy. And I'm writing upside down. Let's show enjoy. Whenever we can have people over again, we are all going to have the most beautiful placemats, the most beautiful stenciled napkins. Back to that question about the stencils, you can use any stencil. Oh, but go look at Tjhoko stencil range. It's truly beautiful. And let's write the name here. Oh, let's write my mom's name. I miss it too much. Lorinda. And you can even, if you want to, you can write your menu here, that they know exactly what they're eating when. We are going to have so many brides people and so many lovely dinners when we can get back together. Okay, so this is a nice idea. It's a lovely idea if you're a teacher to do in your classrooms. My sister is a teacher and she has painted her desks, sealed it with a glaze, and she's a primary foundation phase teacher. And she has chalk on her table, so if the children needs to learn their cursive writing, she lets them practice on their tables. Clean it with a sponge and water. Lovely for your own children while we are at home and you need to do schoolwork with them. Paint something for them. Let them do it. And they can use it as a chalk surface. They can play with their clay here. Play-doh and clean it afterwards. Any more questions? Let's just apply the clear glaze on our placemats, and the application and rules will be exactly the same for when painting onto wall tiles. So I'll use my clear glaze to just create some order. Clear glaze, my damp cloth, dip it in, remove the excess, wear your gloves. I'm not doing it and I'm not going to. I enjoy my long warm baths. And now you just wipe it onto your painted surface. You will see whiteness that disappears. We did it on the flower pots as well late last week. Once the glaze is dry, it leaves an even see-through finish, so it doesn't change the color of your painted surface. If streakiness occurs, just apply another coat the moment this coat is dried. I'm just going to make sure it's in every crevice, groove, and evenly applied on my surface. I'm going to allow a 30-minute drying time to see if I need a second coat.
Okay, Nadine. Do you use the glaze straight onto the tile or do you use a mixture?
No, I always use a mixture. I always use my mixture. So what will happen if you don't mix? It has a very high sheen level. You can rather play around with the sheen level. So I always mix. Here's my mixture from earlier today. So I mix 3 parts glaze, 1 part water, and if you've missed it, I just use small kitchen accessories, measuring cups, and mix as I need. This I'll pour back in my container, and within a week or 2 I will use it, I promise. I'll definitely be using it, so just make sure you mix as you need. Can always, when I feel that a second coat is applied, I want a higher sheen level, I can just add another coat. If you want a very, and this is now breaking the rules, but with Tjhoko you can actually break the rules. The only 2 rules you need to abide with is first, clean well with lacquer thinners, and allow at least a 4-hour drying time before you apply the glaze. Okay, that's the only 2 rules. If you want a lower sheen level, especially for decorative purposes, not painting large items like wall tiles or kitchens, there you need to follow the rules. But for decorative purposes, and you want a lower sheen level, you can add more water. Okay.
Nadine, do you have time for another 2 questions?
I have time. Okay, I have so much time.
Okay, can I paint a copper bed?
I haven't done it. I have a client, Dina, that has done it. Can I ask her to send us the pictures? And then I'll post it on Facebook. She has a guest house in Heidelberg. I'm going to phone her. I'm going to ask her for those pictures, and I'm going to send it to you. Okay, I haven't done it. Let's hear what she says.
Waar is julle geleë?
Okay, so we have a website. Now this is very important because we have had many. I'm going to write down the website address for you and where to click. Ladies, look here. So if you go to your internet browser, you type in www.tjhoko, one word, I just don't have space, paint.co.za, and you click on stockists. When you are on the stockist page, when you are on the stockist page, you can type in your area. You type in kromdraai. You click on search and you scroll down. If there is a stockist in your area, the contact details, email address of that stockist will appear. If nothing is popping up, you know there is not someone. And then you can order online on the same website address under the shop tab. Okay, we have a YouTube channel, Tjhoko Paint YouTube channel. Please go like, follow and subscribe to our channel. There are beautiful videos, more inspiration on that channel. And it's also the platform where we will launch on Thursday a video with all our new products. This is a mouthful. Kelly, are there more questions?
Yes, there are.
Okay, ask them.
Ek het gemis hoe lank vat stencil of pers om droog te word voor ek daaroor kan verf.
Okay, I haven't said that, so you haven't missed. It depends on the weather, it depends on the climate, and it depends on the thickness of your application. So as a rule, we say wait at least 2 hours. If you take your nail and you try to press in there and you really can't, like I can't now, you know it has dried well enough, and then you can paint. So at least 2 hours.
Okay, must the towel be sandpaper? Okay, must it be sanded before painting?
No, it doesn't. But you need to clean it well with lacquer thinners. Okay, clean the tiles, wall tiles, not floor tiles, and not in a shower. All the questions, Kaylee? Kaylee, thank you for helping. Thank you for watching. On Thursday, I'm going to share nice ideas with you to give as gifts. If you ever need to give someone a gift in this time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay motivated and inspired. And send me some suggestions of what you would like to see next. See you Thursday at 3.